Hey guys, how are you? Can you hear me okay? It's kind of a delayed there. So let's get started. I want to jump right into this. And this probably is the most important webinar that I've ever done on weight loss. You're going to learn some seriously powerful tools that are going to just crack through any breakthrough, any plateauing you have. Okay. Now I have a series of slides that I want to present to you. So I'm going to open those up right now. All right, cool. Let's see if I can do this here. I'm going to try to make it bigger. Here we go. Let's try this one. Okay. Does that work? I think that worked. Cool. All right. So, welcome. How to bust through any weight loss plateau and get your body amazing. Okay. So let's go through some things here. Now, I know you've heard, all you have to do is eat less and move more, and you're just going to lose weight. This is a concept that all experts do agree, but the theory has been thoroughly disproven, and it's a complete utter failure. It just doesn't work. It's based on this concept that 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories, and if you just eat 500 calories less each day, you'll lose 1 pound a week. Well, there's more to this, calories in versus equals calories out. So we're going to get into the truth behind this thing. It's just a failure. Now, we do know that low carbs diets do work for lots of people, but why don't they work for everyone? That's been my question. So we're going to cover some things that go way beyond just the low carb, okay? But the main thing I want to do today is help you bust through your plateau. Okay, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff. Just follow through the notes, the downloads. You should have them by now, and just fill it out as we go. Okay, so a plateau. What is a plateau? It's basically a weight where your body is very comfortable, and it doesn't like to move. It wants to stay right there. Okay. Unfortunately, the three facts are this. Dieting slows your metabolism. The more you diet, the slower your metabolism. So if I meet someone for the first time in my office and they say, well, I've never been on a diet before, those people are a lot easier to work with than people that have dieted their whole life. But I'm going to show you some things that we can reverse this whole set point, okay? Also, one tiny little note here, age slows your metabolism. I'm sure you already figured that out. But unfortunately, as we age, things slow down. So we have the combination of many, many diets and aging, which is even a compounded effect on your metabolism, unfortunately. But there's two real main problems. Number one, we have the problem of, decreased calories in. Every time you cut your calories, every time you diet, your body adapts. So it just slows your metabolism down. So let's say you want to get to 140 and you're 170 and you lose weight and all of a sudden you stop losing weight. If you continue to try to lose weight past 140, your body will either get extremely hungry and craving, or it just will slow your metabolism down even more. It just won't let you get past that point. Now, the second problem is that your body has not been burning fat as fuel. It's been burning sugar as fuel. These are the two fuel sources. And if you're not losing weight and you're stuck, then we know you're not burning fat. Okay. So we need to, switch things over. So now I would just have a question, and if you could answer this would be great if you can. Or if you're watching this where you can't, that's fine. But I want to know, do you know what hormone affects the switch, which determines whether you're going to burn fat fuel or whether you're going to burn sugar fuel? Do you know that fat switch? If you do, just go ahead and type it in there, okay? Now, before I get into what the switch is, I just want to quickly introduce myself for those people who don't know me. A lot of you guys know me, some of you don't. Been in practice for 26 years. I work at my Northern Virginia clinic on over 45,000 people. I taught at Howard University as their associate professor in the nutrition department. Best-selling author, 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I trained over doctors in alternative medicine, so I certify them in my methods. I delivered over 4,900 seminars to all the governmental agencies in DC, and I've done seminars to churches all over the place. I have over 1,000 YouTube videos with over 13 million views, and I'm also the developer of the 4 body types. And real quickly, my story in a thumbnail sketch is I lived on junk food and sugar. I've never eaten any vegetables until I think I was 22 years old. I just didn't like them. So I would consume massive amounts. My grandmother was an incredible cook. She made these huge cakes for me all the time, and I would eat the whole thing by myself. So I just kept going, and I pretty much I started getting blood sugar problems when I was 13. I noticed, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was very dizzy. And then I got into sports. I got into wrestling. Went to state in wrestling, wrestled in college. But honestly, my nutrition was so bad. So I would go into the season undefeated, and then I started getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. I knew nothing about health, and if I could only go back in time. So I got really bad to the point where I pushed myself to the point where my bones became actually fragile, and I started fracturing bones. Fractured my neck, fractured my leg, my shoulder. Then I decided to go in the military. So I went into basic training, and during basic training, it's very stressful. And your eating isn't that great. You don't sleep. So I barely passed the PT test when I got out of basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina in 1983. So that was really kind of rough on my body too. So I just kind of went through a series of stressful events. And then when I started getting to be about 28 years old, I started breaking down. Arthritis, insomnia, chronic fatigue, blood sugar issues going right into diabetes, constipation. Oh my gosh, I was a basket case. I was always tired. Okay. But all of that forced me to be interested in helping myself with nutrition, and forced me to push beyond points of knowledge that other practitioners might not go to, because I personally was desperate to figure this thing out. So I really restudied tremendous amounts of data to try to come up with solutions. And to make a long story short, I figured out what was wrong with me. I started to get better, and I'm 51 right now. I'm way healthier than I am back when I was 28. And so, yeah, we can bounce back. So that's my story in a thumbnail sketch. Now let's get into this switch, okay? Now, let me just show you something. Okay, this book right here, Guyton's Physiology. This is the Bible of physiology. This book I studied in pre-med, and it has incredible data on how the body works. So it's not necessarily some study, it's like actual facts. And I want to share with you on page 930 some amazing information. You can see this is in college. These are coffee stains. Okay. So I'm going to share with you something that actually will blow you away. Okay. So let me just pull up the page, and I made a little clip of it so you could see it. Okay. So let me just have to go through all these. There we go. Okay. Boom. Okay. Now you can see it. Check this out. Role of insulin in switching between carbohydrate and lipid metabolism. Wow. It says down here, when glucose concentration is low, insulin secretion is suppressed and fat is utilized almost exclusively for energy. Now, what does all that mean? It means that insulin, that hormone that lowers blood sugar, is the switch between sugar and fat. And when your sugar concentration is low, your insulin's low, and your fat is utilized almost exclusively for energy. So in other words, your fat is only going to be utilized when we keep the glucose low. Okay, that's part of the answer, but this is the switch. So insulin is the switch, okay? So insulin is a switch, and now what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone that lowers blood sugar, okay? What happens when you eat too much sugar or eat sugar, insulin is secreted, and it takes the sugar out of the blood because your body considers sugar as a toxin, okay? So now, your set point, which is that weight that your body loves to be at exclusively, is controlled 100% by insulin, okay? Here's a picture. The pancreas secretes insulin, it gets the sugar out, right? Very simple. So how does it do this? It increases the absorption of glucose into the cells, the muscle, and the liver. So it makes your body sponge-like to pull in the glucose, okay? And it converts sugar into stored sugar called glycogen in the liver and the muscles. And it also converts sugar into fat and cholesterol, bad cholesterol, and triglycerides. Number 3, it prevents any fat from being burned. So basically, insulin controls whether you're storing fat or you're burning fat. When there's no insulin there, you're burning fat. When there's no insulin there, you're not absorbing glucose into the cells, liver, muscles, okay? So that's how it works, okay? So now, if you look at the actual burning of fat, the actual burning of fat is controlled by an enzyme. It's controlled by an enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is called hormone-sensitive lipase, okay? It's just the primary enzyme that burns fat. And guess what? Insulin inactivates it. And it turns it on when insulin is very low. So in other words, when we get the insulin out of your system, clean it out, this enzyme will start working to help you burn fat, okay? That's how it works. So this is straight out of Guyton's Physiology. I'm going to give you a little quote. Check this out. All aspects of fat metabolism are greatly enhanced in the absence of insulin. Wow, interesting. And down here, the most important effect is that the enzyme hormone-sensitive lipase, okay, in the fat cells becomes strongly activated. Wow, it's right there. So again, I'm just kind of making a point that insulin is in charge with this thing, okay? Now, here's the problem. Most people with stubborn belly fat or stubborn weight or a stubborn set point have an insulin problem, okay? And it's called insulin resistance, okay? Let me explain what that is. The receptors for insulin in the cells and the muscle and the liver become blocked. So here's a good analogy. If you're, let's say your house was underneath a train or a metro, and you heard these trains going over your house every single day. At first, it's going to drive you crazy, but after a while, you'll start to become immune to it. You won't even hear it. So the same thing with this. When you have high levels of insulin being pumped out of that pancreas over a long period of time, your body will start to reject it as a poison and start blocking it. And that's what happens, okay? So insulin resistance is created from high levels of insulin being pumped out over and over a period of time. So you have a situation where you have high insulin and you have low insulin in other places. So you can have symptoms of hyperglycemic, which is high sugar or diabetes, and low sugar, which is hypoglycemic. So it's really, really weird. So what happens is when the cell or the liver becomes low with insulin, there's a feedback loop that's going to tell the pancreas to make more insulin. So even when you're not eating sugar, your insulin is going to be high if you have insulin resistance. Okay, here's if you're curious if you have insulin resistance, okay, maybe you have a stubborn weight, but maybe you don't have all these other issues, but maybe you do. So this is the symptoms of insulin resistance, okay? Belly fat, a fatty liver. And by the way, if you have belly fat, you have some fat on your liver, okay? They go hand in hand. Brain fog. Your belly bloats and swells either after a meal or at night, not in the morning. Sleepy after meals. Okay, you need a nap. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, not satisfied after meals. Why? Because you can't pull in the nutrients. Everything is stuck there. It's blocked. High blood pressure, cravings for carbs and sweets, inflammation. Cannot go without eating from one meal to the next. Excessive hunger, having to snack at night. And even bladder problems, having to go up and urinate in the middle of the night, isn't a symptom of insulin resistance. Now, here's some other symptoms. Check this out. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. If you've never heard about that, that's usually when a woman gets acne and facial hair infertility. That comes from insulin resistance. Now, if you look that up, a lot of times they'll say, oh, one of the symptoms of polycystic ovarian syndrome is insulin resistance. I'm like, no, insulin resistance causes polycystic ovarian syndrome because insulin resistance increases androgens, okay? All right, so you can also have estrogen dominance. So insulin resistance can spike estrogen. Unfortunately, estrogen can then increase insulin as well. And that's why when women take birth control pills, they gain weight. When they have their cycle, they gain weight. When they get pregnant, they gain weight, which then blocks the thyroid. Oh my gosh, so it's a real terrible cycle here. Okay, so on the left, we have a normal cell. To the right, we have insulin resistance. Now remember, insulin resistance blocks the receptors, right? So look at this. The cell on the right is literally starving of energy, okay? Yet you have all this energy stuck in the blood. So people with insulin resistance are kind of tired. They're weak. They don't have the strength they used to. They don't store sugar in between meals like they used to. And they're always craving for sugar, but they're never satisfied. That is what's happening at the cellular level. They're going right into diabetes. Okay. So people with insulin resistance have a higher fasting insulin level. So that means like at night when they're sleeping, their insulin is high, even if they're not eating any sugar. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Now, I'm sure you have heard of the glycemic index, right? Basically, that's the foods that break down the sugar faster and they can spike your insulin. Okay. So, like a jelly bean is a lot higher than celery. Okay. So that's the glycemic index. And so when you eat foods high in sugar, it spikes the insulin. If you eat things low in sugar, it doesn't stimulate as much. But the glycemic index is just not enough. It turns out that many people still fail at losing even when they avoid foods high on the glycemic index. Why is this? Because glucose or sugar is only one of the factors that triggers insulin. In fact, glucose accounts for only 50% of the insulin. Okay, so let me just show you this right here. I have to speed this up here. Okay. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to take out my favorite book, Guyton, okay? And right here, I'm going to show you this right here. Other factors that stimulate insulin, right there. You see the other factors? Certain amino acids. Wow. What does that mean? Amino acids? That's protein. Let's take a look. All right. There is something called the insulin index. An insulin index, okay? It's way more important than the glycemic index because it covers a lot of other things that that we need to be looking at, okay? And one thing is amino acids. Unfortunately, certain amino acids will trigger insulin, okay? Now, here's the insulin index of certain foods. You can see down here, beef, fish, okay? But eggs are pretty low. I'm going to tell you why in a minute, okay? Protein can increase insulin, but not necessarily increase glucose. That's fascinating. If you combine carbs or sugar with protein, you can increase insulin by 200%. MSG triggers insulin by 300%. If you add carbohydrate to fat, you can also increase insulin. But guess what? The glucose goes down, which is fascinating. Okay. So this is all really good data. But there's other factors that potentiate or increase glucose and insulin. One is fructose. Now, fructose is in all the high fructose corn syrups. I mean, the amount of the problem right now is that almost all of the sugar sold in the United States is subsidized by the government. So you can see the companies that sell it are making huge profits, and they almost get it free because the government pays it. So you end up paying the farmers to produce this GMO sugar. And yes, it's GMO. Beet sugar is mostly all GMO. They passed this regulation that now all the beet sugar has to be GMO, unfortunately. So now we have the corn, the GMO corn sugar, which acts like a pesticide. And then we got the beet sugar. You see the problem? Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the other thing I'm going to teach you. Whey protein. Whey protein stimulates insulin pretty majorly. Like on the insulin scale, it's like 71. So egg white protein stimulates insulin, but egg yolks hardly at all. So here's the interesting point. The point is this. Let me just pull this up right here. So, there's great articles out there on the insulin index, but you got to pay for them. They're rent them. I don't know why. So I had to buy this article, and I actually read it, and I actually really read it and studied it because I looked up probably maybe 9 to 10 or more words on every single page, and I looked them up to make sure that I was comprehending and digesting, and I wasn't just reading the summary like a lot of people do, because I wanted to really get this. But I actually typed out an insulin scale, okay? And what I want to share with you is this. Fat does not stimulate insulin hardly at all. It's very low. Butter being very low, olive oil being very low, olives low, coconut oil is low, heavy cream is low, okay? Bacon is really low. Why? Because bacon is mostly fat, okay? So apparently, the more concentrated protein is, the more concentrated the protein powder is. The leaner the meats, the low fat the meat or the product, the more the insulin spikes. Wow. Wow. So these people that are going to the store buying low fat protein, low fat carbs, low fat, or no, low fat, or actually just fat with sugar. Oh my gosh, they are setting themselves up for getting insulin resistance. Okay. Now I'm just kind of increasing your awareness because we're going to build on this. So we knew about the sugars. Now there's certain proteins. So if you take the egg white and the egg yolk and combine them, you can lower the insulin index. Okay. But nuts, the nut that is the lowest on the insulin index is pecans. Then you got macadamia nuts, and then avocados, sour cream, bacon, peanut butter. So these are all really, really low. But if you start going leaner, lean meats, low fat, goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Fascinating. Okay. So that's one thing. Okay. So let me show you a couple other things. Okay. Amino acids. That's protein. Pure concentrated proteins, whey protein isolates like the soy protein isolates that are in a lot of diet shakes, have high insulin triggering response versus proteins with more fat. So full fat yogurt, Greek yogurt, is way better than fat-free yogurt. Whey protein um, is not as good as whole milk cheese. Lean meat is not as good as fatty meat. And I kind of, you can say I have this reversed, but you can see the point there. Okay, so now when we add sugar to protein, like in barbecue, breaded meat, burger with bun, burgers with fries, burgers with soda, burger with ketchup, you're really just spiking that insulin way, way up there. Okay. So I have a list here, and you can see pecans are really low, butter's really low, avocados, bacon's pretty low, peanut butter's pretty low, egg yolks are pretty good, the whole egg, but look at egg whites, 55%. Amazing. Wow. Banana is way up there. Fat-free pretzel is way up there. Whole wheat bread, oh my goodness. Look at how high that is. White bread, baked beans, sweetened yogurt, potatoes, jelly beans. Look at this. These are all the things that people think I should be eating. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So now I want to get into something else. If we're trying to get rid of insulin resistance, we're trying to heal it, we're trying to get your body to recover from insulin, what caused it in the first place was sustained eating and snacking. Because here's the other thing that insulin resistance can be. I'm sorry. Here's something else that will trigger insulin that you might not think. Just basically general digestion. So there's hormones in your stomach that trigger insulin. Okay. So basically, every time you eat, there's going to be some spike in insulin. That's what I'm trying to communicate, but very poorly, of course. So if we look at this right here, we got the breakfast, we got the spike of insulin, we got the snack, we got the lunch, we got the snack, we got the dinner, we got the snack. And then at night, if you graze, you pretty much will never, ever get rid of insulin resistance. Okay. Pre-diabetes, you won't get rid of it. You're not getting rid of your stomach. So why? Because what we have to do as a technique is we have to get more recovery between the meals. We have to do a little bit of intermittent fasting. So the first thing I want you to do is not snack between the meals. Okay. Now, if you have a hard time doing that, that just means that you have insulin resistance. We have to work on that because you should be able to go from one meal to the next without craving or getting excessively hungry. Okay. So this would be the first step. Just do 3 meals because look at, you'll get a little dip in insulin reduction between breakfast and dinner and between lunch and dinner and then after when you're sleeping. Okay. So that's a really good thing. But if you're not hungry in the morning and you're only hungry, let's say at 12, then go for just eating 2 meals a day. And I'm not trying to do this to cut calories. All I'm trying to do is to heal the insulin resistance that is keeping your set point completely fixated. Okay. So we want time for your body to recover and heal. And if you're constantly eating, it's not going to work. Okay. So 2 meals is great. If you can't do that, then do 3. Okay. But what I'm going to suggest is if you're having a hard time going from one meal to the next, add a little fat to that meal. And it's not because fat necessarily dissolves fat or burns fat. It's just going to get you to be able to sustain your hunger a lot better. And fat does not trigger insulin, so it's a safe food, and it does not cause any heart problems And I don't want to get into it too much right now, but if you are concerned about cholesterol and heart, please watch my videos on cholesterol because I explain it thoroughly. It's not the cholesterol or fat that causes heart attacks, strokes, or high cholesterol. It's the sugar. Okay, that's what's converted. All right. Now, so you got that. So we talked about sugars, proteins. We talked about snacking between meals. All of that messes you up. But there's something else that causes insulin resistance, and that is high cortisol levels. Okay, it's high cortisol levels. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone. Let me show you. Let's see if I could find it right here. Okay. This is another book, my favorite, SIBO. Okay. So in here, it talks about cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It's part of the adrenal body type, which is like right here. So check this out. Cortisol increases glucose output. Okay. So stress that triggers cortisol increases glucose. So you don't necessarily have to be eating anything or doing anything. You go through stress and your glucose goes up. Okay. When the glucose goes up, the insulin will go up. So cortisol induces diabetes. Cortisol induces insulin resistance. I have a very good friend. He had an injection of a prednisone shot. He developed diabetes, and he's just been struggling ever since. So here's the thing. Sometimes your friends don't comply with my advice, or else they could overcome it because he just can't give it up. But the point is this: insulin lowers sugar, cortisol raises it. So when you see this belly fat right here, that causes, so cortisol causes this. What it's doing, it's causing insulin. So it's cortisol is indirectly raising insulin that's making the belly fat. That belly fat, all the fat in your belly is controlled by insulin, but cortisol is just one of the triggers. Okay, so that's an insulin belly, and what happens is that cortisol just happens to be one of the triggers. So on the scale of insulin index, that is a big one. Okay, so because I want to talk about cortisol for just a little bit, let me just go ahead and switch it to the slides again. Okay, cortisol can cause diabetes because it's constantly turning on your body to make sugar, raising insulin. And this is the reason for the belly fat. Now, there is a difference between the visceral fat, okay, and the superficial fat on your belly. All that visceral fat, the fat around your organs, the fat around your heart, the fat around your kidneys, the fat in and around your liver, the back fat, the fat over that surrounds the organ come from insulin. It's insulin derived. But the superficial fat is different. It's estrogen derived. And that's why you see women that have like this extra layer of fat than men. Like men don't have as much, but men do have that. When a male body gets this superficial fat, what's happening, the estrogen's going up and the testosterone is going down. That's why they get the man boobs, right? So the superficial fat is the same thing with the breast tissue. And that is estrogen. And the estrogen inhibits testosterone. So in a male body, this is not good. Okay. But I just wanted to point out the difference between the two. If you don't have a lot of visceral fat, maybe you just have some superficial fat, then what we need to do is we need to address the estrogen piece. Okay. So I just want to talk about the adrenal body type, okay, because many people, this is the most common adrenal body type. And I want to cover some important data on this. The adrenal glands are the stress gland of the body, sit on top of the kidney. They create various symptoms: excessive thinking, um, tired eyes, the need for coffee in the morning, can't wake up, fatigue, dispersed, multitasking, but can't focus on any one thing for any period of time, low stress tolerance, decrease libido. That's this little fence down here in the left lower corner. High blood pressure. That's an inhaler. Asthma, allergies, diabetes. That's a pinprick on the finger. Acne, sleep apnea, leg cramps, alopecia or hair loss, brain fog, hot flashes, facial hair, the need to go to the bathroom frequently, sinus, swollen legs, cravings for mainly salt, breads, and chocolate. Okay. Also, they get loose skin. And by the way, that loose skin is being converted into sugar, by the way. Loss of memory and concentration, out of breath climbing stairs, uh, a digestive problem because when you're in stress mode, you don't digest like you should. Heartburn, acid reflux, GERD, um, and irritability, especially when with people that are like low. I guess it's like incompetent people, people that are slow, stupid people. They get on your nerves easily, and also the need to take a nap after you eat. And that's because of the spike in sugar and insulin. Okay. I just showed you this book right here, but right up here, it talks about increased glucose output uh, and increases insulin. So, wow, interesting, right? So it messes with your body, causes osteoporosis, a buffalo hump. Um, so this cortisol is being pumped out. So here's the thing. The interesting thing about the adrenals is that they don't have an off switch. No, they don't. And what caused the adrenal gland to get stuck on and pump out cortisol is the accumulation of stress. And I want to just show you something because all stress accumulates. The old stuff accumulates, especially as related to your eating. I'm sorry, related to when you started gaining weight, because take a look at how many people have started gaining weight when they're after a pregnancy, hysterectomy, menopause, after some change in hormonal shift, after a loss of a loved one, injury. Why is that? Because stress activates cortisol and increases insulin. They develop insulin resistance from the cortisol. Interesting. So if you just fix the cortisol, but you don't fix the insulin resistance, you may not get better. Okay. So the point is that all your stress accumulates in your body. So that's why it's important to get a history of all the past stuff that happened to you. Okay. I have a machine that measures the stress in your body. And it's interesting because I can actually see and even tell you what you feel based on this graph. This person over on the top, you can see that they're just totally jacked up completely, wired for sound. Their mind is racing a mile a minute and they just can't wind down. But this person down here has very low recovery because the recovery should be all the way to the right. So the tall dial should be straight up and down, and the small dial should be all the way to the right. So when someone has very low recovery, they don't tolerate stress. They don't sleep that well. Okay, they have a high degree of overwhelm. Okay. All right. So if we look at the causes of insulin resistance, we know the higher sugars will do it. We know lean proteins will do it, especially the concentrated whey protein. And combinations of protein and sugar will do it. Lots of snacking and frequent eating will do it. MSG and cortisol. Those are the main factors. Okay. See, insulin is a dominating hormone. So even if you're exercising and eating good, if that insulin is still high from insulin resistance, you're not losing any weight because it inactivates all other hormones. And this is why people They try to overcompensate with exercise. Exercise is not going to work if you have insulin resistance. Just try it. See how much weight you lose. Okay? Cortisol also is a dominating hormone. So in the presence of stress, it really is hard for anything else to activate. So it really boils down to two things: stress and sugar, and eating too frequent. Okay, I'm going to get into now some solutions, okay? Number one, sleep. Why? Because sleep reduces cortisol. Sleep reduces insulin resistance. If you're not sleeping, you're going to be more hungry and you're going to want more sweets. So it's a really, really key factor. Okay. Now, I developed a tool to help people sleep. It's very cool. I'm going to show you. I have one right here. Okay. So this is the little tool that I have right here. This is developed by my hand. There are certain acupressure points on your body that release stress, and there's one right in the back of the neck, right here. And you can sit back in your couch or a tall back chair and sit back and hit those points. I do this every night before I go to bed. 2 minutes, I'm out cold because it hits these 2 points. These 2 points, if you know anything about anatomy physiology, are called the parasympathetic points. It's right by the brainstem. It triggers a relaxation. These are the sleep points back here. And there's actually, where is it? I have a little booklet with all the maneuvers. There's about 15 different maneuvers that you can do with that tool. And it's just basically designed to help extract stress from your body so you can sleep better. It's wonderful. Okay. So that's one of the techniques that I personally use to sleep. Okay. Now, let me just get back to this one thing here. Okay. Okay, so this is one technique. There's many other techniques. Number two, exercise. Exercise greatly helps insulin resistance. Exercise also can help high cortisol if it's low intensity. But the key with exercise is you must make sure you don't overtrain because you're going to trigger cortisol. But if you're not exercising, you need to start because that will help insulin resistance. Okay, but go light at first. Okay, 0 sugars. Now, this is a big one because the purpose of fat. Check this out. The purpose of fat. Every time I click off, it goes way back. Okay. Here's the thing. The purpose of fat is to protect you against the starvation of sugar. Okay. So it's a backup fuel for sugar. So in order to tap into fat, we must bring sugar down to 0. Okay. So if we're doing a low carb, it might not be 0. Low carb just has enough sugar to keep insulin high. Because remember, it's only the lack of insulin that does this. So we have to go ultra low. So now we're going to take away something from you, and you're not going to like that. So we have to substitute it with something. That's why I created this book right here. This is a really good book that shows you recipes and brownies. I have a lot more in my Adrenal portal membership site, which I'll explain in a bit. But these are amazing recipes that allow you to consume the foods you like, but with no sugar. These are the good recipes. There's 18 of them. This is a good one right here. The bread and also the cookie and the peanut butter cup one. So what I suggest you do, and I do this, I take a certain type of chocolate that has no sugar, and I put it with certain salted roasted seeds or nuts like sunflower seeds or pistachios or or almonds, and I'll put it in the freezer, and then I will just consume this right after the meal, not in between the meal, but right after as a little bit of a snack. Now, I don't need that anymore, but that was something that I did in the past, and I do it occasionally, just a little bit. But that's something you can do because that way we don't have to take anything away from you. You can just add to it. Okay, so there are solutions so you don't have to feel deprived. All right, and you can eat things, and as you transition to this, if you had a recipe for a chocolate cake, for example, you'd probably be happy. So if you had a recipe to substitute anything, like even ice cream, then you'd be happy. So that's what we want to do, is to give you some ingredients, but it's going to have to be a little bit more fatty ingredients. But it tastes really good. So I show you how to make those as well. Okay, so now let me get back to these slides. All right. Okay, hidden sugars, fruits, grains, including oatmeal, yogurt, especially, even plain, because it has like 10 grams of sugar. It's too much. Alcohol, starches. I'm sorry. Look at an apple has 19 grams of sugar. Give me a break. It's like eating a candy bar. Yeah, we can minus the fiber, but we still have way too much sugar, okay? So apples, and I used to recommend them, but not anymore. Why? Because if you have stubborn weight, you're going to have to give up apples right now. I'm sorry. Okay, here's some just pictures of some of the substitute foods. Now, all of these foods are loaded with fat and no sugar, okay? So you get the pleasure, you get the sustaining from one meal to the next, and you get no insulin secretion. So it's really cool. Okay. Now, number 5, one of the things that you must do is increase your potassium if you're going to reduce both cortisol and insulin. Okay. And potassium will do it. It will help you. But the problem is you need 4,700 milligrams a day, and that's a lot. So that would be like having 10 bananas or 5 avocados. That's almost impossible. So what are we going to do? We're going to get it from our greens. Okay, so 1 ounce equals, let's see, 1 ounce of salad equals 1 cup. So we need about 7 to 10 cups of vegetable or salad every single day. Okay, what you're looking at is the size of my salad. Of course, it's hard to see this, but it's really not that hard. It's like a fluffy salad, 7 to 10 cups. I'll have a big salad for lunch, big one for dinner. I might blend kale with water, and I'll put a little of my instant kale shake in it to make it taste better. But the point is, you can drink your salad or consume it, but we need to increase the salad for 2 reasons. 1 is the potassium, and number 2 is to keep the liver free of fat, because we're going to be dumping a lot of fat through your body because you're going to lose weight, and the last thing we want to do is have you end up with a fatty liver. And this is right in Guyton's Physiology, where he talks about one of the problems with reducing glucose is that it can cause a fatty liver. Effective insulin, lack on causing a fatty liver. So that's why the amount of vegetables that you eat is really, really, really important. Okay, 7 to 10 cups every single day. Okay, number 6. If you're not hungry for breakfast, then make your lunch your breakfast. But this is what I consume for breakfast. This is what I do: 4 eggs, avocado. But guess what? I barely have a dinner. So I really have like 2.5 meals. But this gets me by, and I can go from one meal to the next. I can probably go all the way until 2 o'clock if I need to, without any problem at all, because I'm adding the fat in there to improve this sustainability. Now, if you're like I weigh 201 pounds, right? If you are smaller, just eat less. You don't have to have that much, but it's very important to have the protein breakfast because then it sets your blood sugars in a good place for the rest of the day. And also the fat buffers some of this protein. I just love egg yolk and bacon and avocado. I just dig that. Okay, number 7, intermittent fasting, 2 to 3 meals per day, no snacking, add more fat per meal if you are hungry. So you just keep adjusting it, right? Listen, our bodies, I don't know whoever came up with we need 3 meals a day or 6 meals a day. It's not natural to eat that often. It's much better to have less meals and just eat a little bit more until you're satisfied. But you want to be living off your own fat, okay? So you say, well, if I skip a meal, what am I eating? Well, one of your meal is your own fat on your body. Isn't that the goal? So you might initially feel a little kind of empty, but that's okay, as long as you're not too hungry. Okay, apple cider vinegar is really good to reverse insulin resistance. So I would recommend, you can even take it in pill form. I have it on my website, or you can drink it. Take 2 tablespoons in a glass of water and drink it with your meal, and you're going to see some really cool effects. Also, apple cider vinegar gets rid of fat on your liver. Additional small things, lowering your estrogen, lowering high estrogen, because high estrogen can also increase insulin, like I said, the birth control pills, Cinnamon helps a little bit, and increasing fiber does help as well. Okay, so I have a question for you. Are you willing to make these changes? Is it too overwhelming? If it is, that's fine. Take it on a gradient. Just do what you can and work up to it. I just wanted to give you some really good solutions because some of you already are doing a lot of the things, but you might not be doing some of the things I'm talking about, okay? So for a lot of you, you need a little bit more help, okay? You need a little bit more solution. So plan A, come to my office and let us evaluate you. And you might be in other parts of the country that this might be very difficult. So there is a plan B. And plan B is my Adrenal body type exclusive membership site. And let me explain what this site is. This is an awesome site because what I did is I actually have 2 goals. I fix your lifestyle habits and I fix the inside of your body. Many people have a lot of additional problems that go way beyond just the weight. They have digestive problems and sleep problems, hormone problems, thyroid problems. They got arthritis, they got high blood pressure, they got diabetes, they got all these other issues, right? Well, we need to get you healthy so you don't have those issues. That's getting healthy to lose weight, not lose weight to get healthy. This is what it looks like. There are over 158 videos that are in this portal, in this membership site. And it's sectioned out into categories, one thing at a time. So I give you step-by-step things to implement, and I educate you along the way. And then I give you all the barriers and solutions, like temptation, social eating, what do I eat when I go to a restaurant, all that. And then I get into substitute pleasure food recipes. And 90% of all the data here is not on YouTube, it's not on my website, it's just on this portal. So I also give you a tremendous amount of additional great substitute recipes like the chocolate cake, chocolate seeds, all these great things. Now, and they're in video, most of them are in video format. And then we get into the body problems. So if you have a certain condition, fibromyalgia, back pain, neck pain, let's say you have high blood pressure, whatever, I show you what to do to fix it, okay? And then real life case studies. I show you my technology of how I evaluate people, and then I give you real life examples of people just like you that have similar problems and what we did to them and how it worked out, okay? And then the other thing that I have is advanced techniques. This is where we show you how to do advanced acupressure techniques on the adrenal, on the thyroid, on the ovaries. And this is where, I mean, that alone is worth way more than what I charge for this, which is $36 a month or $18 a month if you want to go yearly. But the point is that in this portal, you will have all of the solutions to be able to handle just about any body problem that you have. And the goal is to get you healthy. And what I mean by that is that great digestion, perfect sleep, lots of energy, no heavy period, no inflammation, no stiffness, and no extra weight. Okay. And then I give you a lot of other bonuses. Now, so you get access to the advanced techniques to fix all the body problems, including the adrenal. You get access to me personally. I answer all your questions. I'm on this portal several times a day, and you'll see on a lot of the success stories that everyone is very, very happy. I have very few people that ask for a refund, and we give you a 30-day refund. And I have most of the people upgrade for a year because of the amount of service that they get. And you get access to me. So if you have questions, I answer them personally. And I can do that for right now. But as we grow, there will be probably less and less of that. I not only show you what to eat and give you charts and everything, I give you an understanding of why you should eat certain things, okay? It's targeted to address the other body type problems that stop weight loss and stop your health from improving. And also the members get a lot of strategies to make sure you stick to it, live examples, 158 videos, and then here's a question, what does it cost? It's not $2.99, $1.99, it's not even 99 bucks. It's 39 bucks a month. So it's really cheap. Or most of the people get an $18 a month and they get a year commitment. So you're prepaying for the whole year, but you're getting access to me, all this data, and I'm constantly doing Q&A live videos every 2 weeks, okay, for all the members. So you can ask me personally in front of the group, and I'm constantly adding more and more data to this. So this is really your portal, your access to me. It's the least expensive way to have access to me and to help me teach you, bring your body to the next level, okay? So full 30-day money-back guarantee, okay, if you're not satisfied. Now, if you get this program today, if you sign up, there's 2 bonuses that I'm going to give you that are really cool for free. Unlimited access to the meal creator software, okay? So you can actually create all your meals. If you're a vegan or you're a meat eater, I actually give you options for different foods. Plus, you get all the recipes. So you can generate a weekly meal plan within a minute, and you can make it, you can create variety. So this is a really good tool that you'll have access to, okay? Plus, you will also have access every month to my advanced evaluation software, okay? This is a very in-depth, deep evaluation of your specific problems. You take this very lengthy quiz online, and pretty much we're going to ask you every single symptom about that you could possibly have, from acid reflux to acne to air hunger, brain fog, polyps, depression. And listen, I created this evaluation and I programmed into it a certain logic to be able to find the one cause, the primary cause to most of your problems. And that's how it's designed. And you'll have access to this once a month. So you can actually run these reports and see what your problem is. This is really, really cool. One of my health coaches will walk you through the results and we'll give you a report. But just think about what I had to do to create this. I had to type in every single symptom, every single cause. I had to type in every all the explanations about what things are. So it's taken me a long time to create this. So I really hope you appreciate it, because I think it's really cool. I mean, see, some symptoms can come from multiple causes, and some causes can have multiple symptoms. And it's very confusing because you're like, what do I figure out? But I figured everything out for you. So you just need to plug it in, press submit, and then we can do it. Here's just a couple success stories. I wanted to just read it. Dear Dr. Berg, thank you so much for creating this portal. It was truly amazing, and I look forward to the journey. I just started it, and I'm loving it. Um, Dory's is doing fantastic. She's lost so much weight. Her whole body is doing better. I put her on my website as well. First of all, thank you. My fiance and I have finally found an eating lifestyle we can both follow and enjoy. Awesome. Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. I lost 40 pounds. Together, we have lost over 150 pounds. You have given us so many tools to help us through this process. Now I want to thank you again. That's from Tom and Becky. Dr. Berg, you're an angel walking on this earth. Thank you so much for all your wisdom, studies, and support for all of us healing our bodies. I am married to a general surgeon, so you can imagine my struggles. But I always prefer holistic approaches and feel so blessed I found you. Looking forward to watching all your videos and learning more about you. God bless you. So it just keeps going on and on and on. And the content is amazing, and I put a lot of time into it. And I think that you will love it. So I'm going to give you a link right now, if I can figure this out here. Yeah. So the link should be up, and you can go to the website and you can choose if you want to do the monthly or the yearly. Um, I would get the yearly if I were you, because you get a whole year. It's only $18 a month. Okay. I mean, come on. If you can't invest that in your health, like, you're not really committed yet, but you need to be. But the point is that you got a whole month to see if it's worth it. And I already know it's going to be worth it, because it's going to help you. But the portal, the membership site, is mainly designed to basically get you to be cause over your health. So you're not dependent on me or some other practitioner. See, my goal used to be I wanted to help lots of people with big health problems, but I changed that goal because that's kind of a stupid goal. A better goal that I switched to is I want to help people help themselves with their own bodies. And to do that, I have to teach you how your body works, how to get healthy, and you have to learn how to do it. So therefore, now you have the knowledge, and you can control your own body, your family, your kids, and be an example for other people. So you're not calling me going, I have a zit on my nose, what should I take? You already know what causes the zits on the nose. So that's really fulfills my purpose of training you, and I think you'll really, really love it and appreciate it. So I suggest give it a chance and try it out. And I will see you on the inside, because I check it all the time, and also the Q&As. But I hope you enjoyed this very important presentation, and I gave you a lot of great content that you can apply and get well, even without the portal. But the portal just is the icing on the cake, because there is more to learn, and I can individually help you with your problems as well. So I want to thank you for coming on to this webinar and listening this far, because it went on a bit too long. I can see that. And I will see you on the inside, on the portal. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.